Now, it was hailed as the modern-day lay-by, but now Afterpay is getting some consumers into debt, with experts warning if you use the service, read the fine print first.
I love Afterpay. I find it better than credit cards or anything like that, or just paying it straight up. I love it.
Buy now, pay later. What more could you want this Christmas?
Christmas is so expensive and I use it for everything.
Services like Afterpay have exploded in popularity.
We now have over 2.5 million customers and over 20,000 retailers on the Afterpay platform.
But Australia's obsession with buy now, pay later schemes has alarm bells ringing. Shoppers have racked up nearly $1 billion in debt. And financial experts are warning, unless we're careful, that could blow out this Christmas.
It can be a bit of a gateway drug for millennials in that it gets them hooked on credit. It's really encouraging them to spend money they don't have.
It's definitely addictive.
The concept is simple. Instead of paying for something up front, Afterpay allows people to take a product home and pay for it in 4 fortnightly instalments, interest-free.
It's really easy to rack up debt on Afterpay.
Beck Jackson has a love-hate relationship with Afterpay. She's constantly using it to buy clothes, but its lure has landed her in debt on more than one occasion.
You do kind of forget about it, or you forget how much you're owing.
Beck says because she's not out of pocket straight away, she'll often make the mistake of putting too many things on Afterpay.
And then you kind of don't account for it in your budget and you end up getting this large chunk of money comes out and you're like, okay, I didn't really prepare for that.
A recent report from the Australian Securities and Investment Commission has put buy now, pay later spending habits under the spotlight. It found 40% of people using services earned less than $40,000 a year, with 1 in 6 customers ending up in financial trouble, such as having overdrawn accounts or borrowing money to cover debts.
You're basically spending money that you don't have, so it's a delayed way to pay for things, and these costs can quickly add up if you don't pay them off.
Sophie Ellsworth is a personal finance editor at News Corp. She says people often get caught out by late fees.
It's a double whammy if you link your Afterpay to credit cards and fail to pay it off. You'll get hit not only with the fees associated with Afterpay, but you'll also get hit with interest charges. So it ends up being a very expensive way to pay for goods.
There are now growing calls for services like Afterpay to be brought under the National Credit Act to tighten controls. At the moment, businesses aren't required to perform credit checks on customers. But Anthony Eisen from Afterpay says the sector has its own system in place.
At Afterpay, we reject about 50% of first-time customer users. It only serves us to deal with responsible customers that pay on time.
The service has introduced a cap on late fees at $10 for purchases under $40 and a maximum of $68 for purchases above that.
And if a customer misses just one single payment, they can't spend any more. So it's impossible to get into that accumulation of debt and that revolving nature of debt.
I love Afterpay because it just takes the stress out of the shopping.
Michelle Lindsay uses Afterpay all the time. She puts money aside specifically for buy now, pay later purchases.
I've been using it for bedding, clothing, for cosmetics.
The mother of 2 has a system in place to make sure she doesn't end up in debt.
Yeah, I've got an app. So the really good thing is I can go in and check what I've got at one time. So if I want anything else, I make sure there's no more than 2 or 3 things on there at the one time.
But Barefoot investor Scott Pape says not everyone's as sensible as Michelle. His new book highlights how young people are especially vulnerable.
Afterpay is certainly better than credit cards. It's certainly better than personal loans or payday loans, but there is a sting in the tail for young people.
Scott says people need to be very careful their spending habits pre-Christmas don't come back to bite them in the new year. His advice?
I'm all about cash is king, save up for it and spend it. Afterpay, credit cards, personal loans can really set you up for a really bad 2019 because you have a February freak out. You get the school bills, you get all these bills coming up, and that's when you really pay.
If you manage your money really well, then I think it can be really beneficial. You know, if you are someone who's not the best at managing your money, then yeah, it can be really dangerous.
And you can read the full report from ASIC on our homepage.